Cars today are faster, safer and more advanced than they've ever been. So why does it feel like we're getting less and less for our money? Prices have skyrocketed in recent years, with some cars increasing by up to 40% since 2020. For example, for 20k you used to be able to buy a sporty hot hatch like a Fiesta ST. These days you can merely afford a Dacia Sandero. No hate to the Sandero, but it's not exactly an enthusiast's car. And it's not just the new car market either, it's also the used cars. Since 2020, they've increased by 36%. It's no wonder people are struggling to buy. I found this out the hard way myself. I bought my Fiesta ST back in 2023 after looking at a few other options like the M140i. Out of curiosity, I went back this year to see how much those cars had depreciated, and honestly, they barely had. The same cars for the same mileage were selling for the exact same prices years later. Great news if you already own one, I guess, but if you're a young enthusiast trying to get your first proper car, this market is becoming a massive barrier to entry. So what are the reasons behind these price hikes? Well, one of the main reasons is financing. When dealers sell cars these days, the most important number is the monthly payment rather than the list price. And because so many people now buy cars monthly, manufacturers realise they could just keep increasing the prices. The more people that finance, the more the prices increase, forcing more people to finance. You can see the cycle here. Social media has probably made this even worse. People finance cars not just because they need to, but because they want to keep up with trends and present a certain lifestyle online. When every other post in your feed is a GT3 or a Huracan, suddenly your little hatchback starts feeling inadequate. And because more people now aspire to own luxury brands like BMW, Audi and Mercedes, demand keeps rising along with the prices. Another sneaky tactic from car manufacturers is the move to crossovers and SUVs. Over the past few years, they have heavily marketed these towards families, and that's a big reason why we've seen more and more of these vehicles on our roads. I don't know about you, but we all managed to fit in a Ford Focus when I was a kid. So why do the manufacturers do this? Well, let's take Ford for example. They've replaced the UK's best-selling car, the Fiesta, with the new Puma. These cars are basically identical, sharing the same platform, engine options, and interior. The only difference? Because it's a crossover, they can charge 5k more for it. This means for every car they produce, they're increasing their profits. They didn't scrap the Fiesta because it was unpopular or flawed. They scrapped it because crossovers are simply more profitable. In fact, this is the reason that whole categories of cars are disappearing. Not because people stopped buying small hatchbacks, but because the manufacturers don't want to sell you them anymore. And it's not just small hatchbacks disappearing either. Over the past couple of decades, enthusiast cars in general have slowly started dying out. Brands like TVR have disappeared completely, MG now mostly sell SUVs, and even companies like Lotus and Aston Martin seem to constantly be fighting to survive. Sports cars just don't sell in the same numbers as crossovers and SUVs, and smaller enthusiast brands simply can't compete with the profits of the bigger manufacturers. Even legends like the Mitsubishi Evo and Subaru Impreza are now gone, while many of the other performance brands are moving towards electric platforms instead, and honestly, it feels like the end of the traditional enthusiast car. And if all this wasn't bad enough, even servicing your car has now become more expensive. Just one example, if you had a bulb that broke on an older car, you could just pop the unit out, screw in a new bulb for a few quid and carry on with your day. But now, a lot of modern cars have something called a sealed beam headlight. This means that if one of the tiny LEDs breaks or gets damaged, the whole unit has to be replaced. Well, that's not too bad, you might say, but these units can cost up to £1,000 each. Bearing in mind bulbs cost from £5 to £10, this is a 100x increase in price. It's no wonder cars are costing more and more to run. This is also one of the reasons that car insurance has become so expensive recently. When modern cars are damaged in an accident, or even have their headlights stolen, like we've seen recently, they can cost thousands to repair, and a lot of the time, insurance will just write off the cars completely. These costs eventually get passed straight back onto drivers through higher premiums. Maybe all this isn't just a reflection of car culture, but modern culture as a whole. Cars are treated like disposable objects, something that you buy every few years and throw away once you're done with, rather than something special to be treasured and maintained. Cars used to feel aspirational, something you worked towards and kept for years. Now they feel like just another subscription.